Legendary Mexican boxer Juan Manuel Marquez warns Jeff Horn, knocking Pacquiao out, it's not that easy. Stay tuned. Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. You want to become part of the gang notification gang, squad up, hit that bell icon. Now we got a lot of stuff happening. Got the Patreon account working. We're doing a little bit of this easy work, and I want to make this video. It's very funny too, because moments like this, it's like vindication. Like if anyone were to doubt certain things that were said, you get the reassurance that, hey, you know what I'm saying, what I said came true, because you have other people. Now what I'm talking about is, I did this video 4 days ago, and it says Jeff Horn, because I had heard in the interview Jeff Horn was trying to allude to the fact that he was going to Marquez Manny Pacquiao and knock him out, similar to what Marquez did in the 4th fight. And it turns out that what I said in that video, now you have the actual fighter who knocked out Pacquiao warning Jeff Horn that it's probably not going to happen. Very doubtful that he'll be able to produce that KO, and he explains why. And it's almost identical to what I told you guys in that video. Now, if you click on the video, like, what's the legend? You know what I mean? But I mean, I agree. He said something about figuring out you don't know until you step in there. I agree with that. But see, this is the thing, man. It's easy from the outside looking in, right? You're like, oh, that's nothing. You know what I mean? I can hit him with the Marquez shot. But people, I think that's the consensus a lot of fighters have. Like, I mean, think about it. If this was you. If you were a big welterweight, you're a strong welterweight, and you're like, man, Marquez he's way smaller than me. He was a lightweight, and he knocked out Pacquiao. So that can give you a false sense of confidence. Like, Marquez knocked him out, I could definitely knock him out if he takes one of these. But the difference is, and this is what people sleep on, is that's from the outside looking in. Everything played out like it was supposed to play out, but that's the outside looking in. It's not the same, because Marquez had 3 opportunities to create that 4th fight moment. You know what I mean? So that's totally different, because if you know, here's an example. I talked to Sean Porter, Kenny Porter, and Daniel Jacobs, and we were all in Las Vegas, and we were all talking, and some of it's on camera. Now, Kenny Porter, his son, you guys get the point. I told you guys, I said Marquez had multiple looks at Pacquiao to become familiar with his quirks, his style, his feints, his footwork, right? He did rounds. Now I'm going to read the direct quote. Marquez did an interview with ESPN Deportes, and he broke down why he doesn't believe Jeff Horn can produce the Marquez knockout. And this is what he had to say. Juan Manuel Marquez said, "To knock Pacquiao out, you have to know him. I had 36 rounds with him before the 4th fight. I already knew what he was doing, and that's why that knockout came at the perfect moment when we wanted it. But beforehand, I already knew him, and in the case of Jeff Horn, does not know him, and because of that, it will be difficult to get that king of a knockout." Eerily similar to what I said. Marquez finished by saying, "The important thing is in this fight is the experience factor, and that's in favor of Pacquiao. But Pacquiao must look to get the knockout so he can return to the forefront, that he's still there at the forefront to convince the people and promoters and networks that he can knock out Horn." Right? It's almost exactly what I told you. A lot of people, and this is not even just my opinion, this is also actually it is my opinion, like in the video I did, but it's my opinion based on factual information. For starters, Juan Manuel Marquez had 3 fights with Pacquiao before that 4th fight knockout. You go to his BoxRec, shout out to BoxRec, this guy has how many, 64 bouts, and he started in 1993, and he has way better names on his resume than a guy like Jeff Horn. So exactly what I told you. Freddie Norwood, Wilfredo Vargas, Casamayor, Pacquiao multiple times, Marco Antonio Barrera, right? Chris John, Juan Diaz, Michael Katsidis, Bradley, Micah. You know what I mean? The guy is full. He's full of knowledge from that experience. He got hurt in the fight with Katsidis, and then he knocked Katsidis out. You know what I mean? That's all experience. Katsidis at the time, very strong, I believe younger than Marquez. All that plays a part. Jeff Horn, I'm not saying it's impossible. I think Jeff Horn, just because he's such a wild card, he might be able to do better than people thought because we don't know him. We don't know what he's capable of. It looks like so far, based on the competition that he's fought, he has good power, but that don't mean nothing. Liam Walsh had good power according to his resume, and then he got in there with Tank and got smoked out. You know what I mean? So it's a shot in the dark. You know what I mean? If Pacquiao's slipping, or if he's old and the senatorial duties took away and he didn't take him serious or something, maybe. But I wouldn't bet my money on Jeff Horn. Like I said, Jeff Horn could possibly do better than people anticipated, but I don't really see him beating Pacquiao. But then again, I don't know enough about him to give you guys a fair analysis of him. But I agree 100% wholeheartedly with Marquez. It's not as easy as it looks. Marquez had years of experience over time because they didn't have like Ward and Kovalev. They weren't immediate rematches at the beginning. It was the first fight, then wait a couple of years. Let's look at it. I think it was like 4 years in between. So he fought Pacquiao. So the first fight was in 2004. And he didn't fight Pacquiao again until 2008. Exactly 4 years, right? So he had years to develop with other fighters, the Juan Diaz, Chris John, and Orlando Salido. He fought all these other fights in between that. And then he came back and had a second fight with Pacquiao 4 years later. And then he fought Casamayor and Juan Diaz and Floyd Mayweather. Then Juan Diaz again, Katsidis. Then in 2011, he came back and fought Pacquiao. So he was gaining seasoning in between the Pacquiao fights. Plus, he's been in there with Pacquiao all them rounds. So I'm glad the fight's on ESPN. Pacquiao should be the clear-cut favorite in this particular fight. Again, it's not even sleeping on Jeff Horn. Most people don't know and haven't seen him on the grand stage, so it's kind of hard to put your money on him. But he seems confident. But that Marquez knockout stuff, I really don't believe Marquez is the biggest puncher that Pacquiao has ever faced. But it's more than that. It's deeper than that. Sometimes it's about technique, because most people would believe a 5'11" Antonio Margarito at 152 or 153, whatever weight they fought at, is probably a harder puncher, pure punching per capita, than Marquez. But Marquez has a better style that works better with Pacquiao. He's more of a thinker. He's maybe even a bit faster because he's smaller and stuff like that. So a lot of these guys, like Jeff Horn, they probably believe, Pacquiao looks tiny. He looks small to me. You know what I mean? I met Pacquiao. Looks tiny, and I think they get souped up by that. The interview is on the page though. I talked to Jesse Vargas, and I asked him, I said, you haven't been back in the ring since Pacquiao. What did Pacquiao do well, right? So check out the interview I did with him. 68,000 views. Jesse Vargas reveals Manny Pacquiao's best weapon, reacts to Roach saying he's better than Jeff Horn. And that was an exclusive that I did with my man Jesse Vargas. Shout out to him for his time. And he told me, he said Pacquiao, he's like, man, his footwork. It's like I said on that. Brandon Rios said the same, very similar thing. He was like, man, fucker was fast. Like, you don't expect somebody. It's different when you're not in there with somebody, and then you get in there with them. You're like, oh wow, I remember there's a funny interview with Danny Garcia, and he was just talking about when he fought Amir Khan. He was like, yeah, they said this dude was fast. He's like, but I'm like, he's a human. He has 2 arms and 2 legs like I can. He can't be that fast. You know what I mean? And then he said, I got in there with Amir Khan. I was like, oh, damn, this dude is fast. You know what I mean? It's a different ballgame when you get in there. And Danny Garcia in that fight had to adjust because he had to get used to it. Whoa, that guy with blistering speed. And for Jeff Horn, he just hasn't fought anyone of the caliber. So, like I said, I'm glad the fight's happening on free TV. Let's see if he could do a Buster Douglas, but it will, for all intents and purposes, it would be that. It would be, he's a massive underdog fighting Randall Bailey, who is 41. See, you guys got to know boxing. Randall Bailey he's like an older fighter. He fought Miguel Cotto when they both had hair. Randall Bailey's bald now, and so is Miguel Cotto. But he fought Cotto way back when both of them motherfuckers had hair. You got to know your boxing. See, look, he had hair back in the day. He's bald now, right? He's been in the game for a minute. Born in 74. When did he fight Cotto? So he's like he got power, but he fought Cotto in 2004, right? He fought Ishe Smith in 2004, DeMarcus Corley in 2003. You know what I mean? He's an older fighter, so I can't really place much. He fought Jeff Horn in 2016, but he was fighting the best names on his resume and stuff. He was fighting them circa 2003 to 2008 ish. You know what I mean? Like the Cottos and the Ishes and DeMarcus Corley, etc. So, I mean, he's kind of a shop-worn fighter. Again, you have to be cautious of power. But if you watch the Jeff Horn fight, which I know a lot of you guys haven't, he hurt Jeff Horn. So credit to Jeff Horn for surviving. And he got a stoppage, but it was like in between the if I'm not mistaken, Randall Bailey didn't want to come out or something. It wasn't like he stretched Randall Bailey. And that does make a difference because you're talking about knocking out Pacquiao. But you knocked out Randall Bailey technically, but you didn't knock him out like that. And he's 41, 42 years old or whatever. So it's an uphill battle, but we're going to find out in the U.S. time on Saturday. And if you're in Australia, on Sunday. Pacquiao looks fit. And if he's a shell of his former self, he should be the clear favorite. But we'll see what this Jeff Horn kid got, the school teacher. Let's see if he can teach Pacquiao a lesson. School's out. Sorry, I just had to throw in a teacher pun. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.